Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time of day. Welcome to Nose Creek Physiotherapy. My name is Blair Shackley. Today we're talking about how to make your first visit with us online in your virtual tele-rehab session as optimized as possible. Well, folks, we've been doing this for a while now. We start off with a checklist of 8 things. Now that checklist has grown to a list of 16 things. So I just want to review those with you. Bill and the crew at the front desk will basically be sending you an email of this checklist as well. Okay, but we'll just verbally go through it together. So the first thing is, the purpose of the first call is to make sure that we can orientate you to the software. It's pretty easy. You'll be sent some links. One link will take you to the consent form that you need to fill out. And there's a box that you just click on that says you agree. A little signature box pops up. You just sign that. Okay, the next link that you'll get from InSig Health basically you'll click on it. It takes you into the portal where we'll be meeting you at the appointment time. All right, and there's a couple things that are going to likely go wrong. We've experienced this and we already know how to deal with these. So number one is the internet is very overwhelmed right now. So we're likely at some point in our online sessions going to get interrupted. So we always ask for your preferred phone number, your cell number, or home number that you'd like us to call if we do get cut off or disrupted. We also ask for an emergency phone number for your spouse or significant other or son or daughter in case something should happen and we want to call them if you fall down or you're non-responsive during our session. And if we can't get a hold of the emergency contact, then we'll probably call 911. And so that's why we'll need your home physical address or street number so we can direct somebody there for your care. No one so far has had to use this, but it's just a precautionary measure that we like to take to make sure we're safe. And we'll also want to confirm your email address. So a lot of people change email addresses and update their contact information, and we may not have updated it at front desk in our EMR software. And everything's kind of generated through our EMR software at the front for scheduling. And then date of birth, we usually like to ask your date of birth as well to make sure you have the right person. And the physical location where you're at in the house is really important as well. So you just want to make sure that the lighting's okay, the auditory is good so we can hear you clearly. And troubleshoot, if it is weak. And if it is weak, we ask you to get as close as you can to your router or modem. So the router or modem is that box that the telephone company put in for your internet, and it's usually in your utility room. Some people might have it on their main floor. But for example, I had a lady the other day where she was on the second floor in her bonus room, and the router was downstairs in the basement. And just for some reason it wasn't working well, so I said, well, why don't we just go downstairs? If you have room downstairs, we could do it in the basement and be a bit closer, and that fixed our conduction or connection problem. So just be aware of where that router is as a quick fix. And again, do you have enough room to move around if we're doing a shoulder assessment or if we're looking at your back? So you want some space to move around while we're examining you. And if you have a shelf where you can sort of put your cell phone or your laptop up top, that would be great as well. And if you have a significant other, spouse, or child that can help us in the initial assessment, that would be helpful as well. So it's not always necessary, but for some of the shoulder special tests, it's nice to have someone else to resist against so we can see if that reproduces pain or what the weakness is like. And again, the assessment is basically our knowledge, our eyes, and we're kind of reaching out using your spouse's hand to sort of complete some of the tests. And if you can, don't allow other family members to be on the internet at the same time. So for that sort of half an hour time that we've reserved with you, try to make sure if you have kids and you're middle-aged like I do, that they're not watching movies on the internet, they're not playing any Fortnite or any big internet games that tend to draw the bandwidth down, or another member using another device. So that's the other thing is if you can, during that focused half an hour, try to turn off all your other devices. So iPads, cell phones, laptops, anything like that might draw down the internet a bit. We just want to turn that off temporarily if we can to reduce the chance of disruption. And then dress. So just make sure you dress appropriately. If it's a shoulder exam, wear a loose shirt if you can, or a muscle shirt. If it's an elbow or wrist, then definitely a short sleeve shirt would be great. For those of you with a low back, hip, knee, or ankle injury, prefer if you actually just put shorts on, just because it's easier for us when we go to do our functional testing with you, for you to move around. Also for us to kind of have a good look at your legs that way, if there's any swelling and things like that. And check your settings. So it's really important on your cell phone to make sure that the camera's on, the speaker's on, and the microphone is turned on to help us connect as well. And For billings, if you're a private client, you can just simply call the office here at 403-295-8590. That's just our regular number. And one of our client experience coordinators will basically do the billing for you over the phone. So we just do a credit card or debit card payment over the phone to keep it really simple, now that we're physically open in our office again. And then for the direct billing, we just need to establish that before we start our treatments. So we have to call in advance, arrange that at our office. So just give them a call at the office and they can sort that out for you, whether you're a WCB, motor vehicle, or Alberta Health Services patient. So not a problem. Easy to set up and happy to do that for you guys. And we'll often ask you if you have any questions about the consent form. It's just kind of a point form, one page. I try to simplify it as much as possible. Basically just kind of the rules of engagement, how it works. The one big important thing is please be on time for your appointments. We will wait up to 8 minutes, and after 8 minutes, if you don't attend, then we're usually just going to move on to getting ready for our next client. So please don't be late, and keep track of your appointments. I know sometimes I'm calling clients to make sure they haven't forgotten and we can connect as well. And the other thing is, make sure your batteries are charged up. And I mean, it sounds like common sense, but people get busy and forget. So plug in your cell phone at night or right before the appointment. Same thing with your laptop. If you can keep it hardwired, even better. And if you feel like you haven't got the link from InSig, our platform, what you want to do is check your junk box or junk mail box, because a lot of our clients, especially the first one that goes out, they look at it as being, like the computer looks at it as a foreign sort of person sending you something, so it just automatically goes to junk and it screens it. So look in your junk box, it's probably in there 9 out of 10 times. And then you can, once you've done it once, then it usually just goes through fine after that. Oh yes, and make sure not to ignore the pop-ups that come through. There'll be one that says allow for audio. And once you allow it once, it'll always work all the time. Just like okaying, saying that's my friend, I can talk to that person. So it'll click through so we can hear you. Otherwise, I got caught the other day, we were trying to do a huddle outside actually. And I was busy sort of between meetings, and I tried to log into the meeting and I didn't hit that little allow audio, and so I didn't have sound until I finally clicked on that. So just look for those pop-ups and be careful when something pops up. Don't just kind of write it off. Make sure you read before you let it go or shrink it. Oh yeah, and the last thing is the old cell phones, obviously, with they're not smartphones. If they don't have a camera, then it obviously won't work on your cell phone as well. So if you do have an older cell phone without a camera, then you need to do it on your laptop instead. So not a problem. There's lots of alternatives. And you will receive a link both on your cell phone and into your email address. So it hits both of those. So that way we can troubleshoot. If one's not working, we can use the other one. And so that seems to be working quite well. So there you go. Wow, 16 points to cover. So I hope you enjoyed that and you're more familiar, and we just want to make sure that first visit goes as seamlessly as possible, and then after that we find most patients fall up without any problems. All right, so I look forward to seeing you on the virtual telehealth rehab platform, and until then, take care, keep moving, stay healthy, and stay safe. Bye-bye.